This is an excerpt of a recent Power Up webinar called Ask Larry Anything. Hi, my name is Larry Jordan. In this short video, I talk about Mac obsolescence and whether the new Apple Silicon computers make older systems obsolete. Why is Apple making such drastic chip changes when an M1 has only been out on the MacBook Pro 16-inch for less than 2 years? M1 is now obsolete, and my new MacBook Pro Max is outdated, and will it lose support from Apple? Do you have any insight into what a buyer can do with this so frequent a change in the system-on-a-chip design? Oh yeah, I have lots of opinions on that. First, and probably the most important, Norris, you need to understand is that Apple is always developing new chips, but that doesn't mean that the chip that you've got is no good. Let me illustrate. I did a reality check. This is a selection of single-core results from Geekbench. And notice at the very top, the MacBook Pro 13-inch and MacBook Air are above everybody else, including the Mac Studio and Mac Pros. It's depressing. In fact, if you look at position number 3, the Mac Studio M1 Max is better than the Mac Studio M1 Ultra. Oh, this is enough to cause people to start to develop agita. But a single core test is not enough because we never use a single core. When we're using our software, it's using all the resources that are available. Now let's take a look at a more real-world example, which is multi-core results. And look, the Mac Studio, which was number 4 in the single core results, is head and shoulders above everything else in multi-core. It beats the Mac Pro from 2019, the iMac Pro from 2017, and the Mac Studio with an M1 Max is in 4th place. If we look all the way down to the bottom of the list, and this is a selection, it's not everything that is covered on Geekbench, the MacBook Pro with the M2 is in 16th and 17th place. It's beat by every version of the Mac 1 except the M1 MacBook Air. In fact, we don't see the iMac 27-inch Retina i7 until we get down to about 25th place. The one that we're looking at here at the very bottom of this graphic is the i9. And yet, we've been able to successfully edit video on our computers for years and years, which means that even if Apple comes out with new M2s, and they will, and they come out with new M3s, and they will, and they come out with new M4s, and you guessed it, they'll do that too, that's additional performance that we don't need. We may want the performance, but we don't need the performance. More performance buys you faster, but it doesn't buy you better. The image quality off a 2010 Mac Pro is exactly the same as the image quality off a Mac Studio with an M1 Ultra chip. Exactly the same, but not the same speed. Once you convert to Apple Silicon, which I think is critical for all of us to do over the next few years as we trade in our Intel systems, converting to Apple Silicon is important for a variety of reasons because there's features in Apple Silicon that don't exist in Intel. Machine learning comes instantly to mind, and ProRes hardware encoding and decoding is also top of mind. Once you get an Apple Silicon system, it really doesn't make any difference which Apple Silicon system you get. They will all be fast enough to edit. In years past, 4, 5, 6 years ago, and definitely earlier than that, video was the cutting edge of technology. We were the ones pushing the computer industry to deliver faster storage, bigger storage, faster CPUs, more GPUs. The hardest thing that we could do on a computer in those days was video editing. It taxed the entire system. But now the entire system is fast enough. Today, any computer can edit. The gating factor is no longer the computer. The gating factor is our storage. The bigger problem is that we all suffer from fear of missing out. What if that new chip has got some hidden feature? Well, the problem is Apple has to support computers that go back at least 7 years, Apple Silicon and Intel. And while they will come out with features that are Apple Silicon only, the vast majority of their applications has got to support both chips. And for developers like DaVinci and Adobe and Avid, they have to support both Windows and Mac systems. They can't afford to completely specialize on Apple Silicon, which means that the computer that we buy today is going to be good for years into the future. And if we stop upgrading it, like many 2009, 2010 Mac Pro owners have done, where they stopped with OS X because that's the reliable operating system for that version of Final Cut or Premiere that they're working. If you're not upgrading, you can use that computer until the hinges fall off. Computers today are fast enough. We may want more, but we don't need more. This was an excerpt of a recent Power Up webinar called Ask Larry Anything. For the complete version of this online training, please visit our store at larryjordan.com/store and look for Webinar 339. By the way, when you need to stretch your training dollars, membership in our video training library saves you money and time. You can access all our videos for a low monthly price of only $19.99, almost 2,000 movies, hundreds of hours on a wide variety of subjects. Plus, premium members can download practice media and projects. Our training covers a variety of software, and we update it multiple times each month. For more information, visit larryjordan.com/membership. And thanks.